Is the 2023 Gambrinus Czech Darts Open. The third round brought to you live by the PDC Europe as we're coming to you from the PBA Expo here in Prague. Time now to meet our next two players. Would you please welcome first from Northern Ireland, the world number 29, with one title on the Pro Tour, a European Tour finalist. Can you smell what the rock is cooking? It's Rocky Josh Rock! And his opponent from the Netherlands, the world number 2, the reigning World Match Play, World Grand Prix and Premier League champion, and the 3-time champion of the world, Mighty Michael Van Gerwen.
This fixture always seems to deliver something, and when it comes to Rock against MVG, they just don't seem to play each other early in a tournament. Every single game they've played has been at the last 16 stage or better, and every time they do play it, it makes headlines for whatever reason. Van Gerwen has beaten Rock 3 times, Rock has beaten MVG once, and that was the occasion where he won by 7 legs to 0 just a few weeks ago. They meet again in Prague to see what the next chapter holds in their somewhat young rivalry. But the veteran on the stage, the man who has 36 European Tour titles, the man in green, is now looking to win his first European Tour event in another country. He hadn't won in Belgium until last week. He'd like to tick this box today, but he's got to go through Rock first, and if he does, he'd have to go through Rob Cross again. I'm the asset Paul Nicholson. This is Dan Dawson.
Josh to throw first. Game on.
That's George Noble, and this is game 2.
Yeah, I like the point you made there, Paul. But when these two have met, it has always been significant. Their first meeting at the Grand Slam of Darts was obviously massive for Josh Rock. He was only just making his first steps into big televised major events. His first big stage meeting with Van Gerwen, hits a 9-darter very early on and loses that game 10-8, but only to a display from Michael Van Gerwen where, in my opinion, it was the best and most focused he'd looked for months and months and months. He was incredible. They met in a Players' Championship final early this year. Van Gerwen won it in a very high-quality game, but that was his first title of the season, a year where it hasn't all been going his way. They met in Austria in the semi-finals. Rock did him 7-0. And then Van Gerwen ending a wait of almost a year for a Euro Tour title in Belgium last week, beating Rock in the semis, dishing out a bit of revenge. Every single meeting has had some pretty major significance for one or both of them.
So
Are we going to get something similar?
What is today going to bring us then? Van Gerwen's just missed his favourite finish, 1-3-2. That won him the Premier League, his very first Premier League. Double 18 for Rock. Doesn't get much better than that. And if it is going to be significant, it might be the first notch of 4 today that they need to get a European Tour title. Now, like I said, Michael's got 36 titles on the European Tour, and I often struggle nowadays to find statistics for him that prove his greatness. Things that I've never said before. So I got the shovel out this morning, started digging really deep.
99.
If he wins against Rock and he plays tonight, it will be his 350th game on the European Tour. That in itself is
42.
amazing. Sentiments echoed.
Quite right, Adrian Lewis, the two-time world champion, former European champion, of course, and a winner on the European Tour, taking a bit of a break from the game at the moment. Hopefully we'll see him back soon.
One more thing I'd like to illustrate about Michael as well, and this really made me laugh this morning when I was digging this stat up. Just wait for Josh to see what he's going to do, because 180s are flowing in this game. That's the third already. Over the 348 games that he's already played, he's averaging 100.27 for the lot. There's also another level to it.
64.
I'll bring that up in the next leg because this is a big shot for Michael.
Yes, it is. And he'll only get 1 dart at tops. That's all he needs. This is encouraging. They are both at it.
I talked about Sedlacek in the first game, never averaging over 100. In fact, he's the only person in this field today not to average over 100 in a European Tour match. Let's go to the other side of the scale. Quite a few of them have averaged over 110. How many times do you think Michael's averaged over 110 on the European Tour?
350 games.
Yep.
20? No, maybe not. 10.
You're actually not far off. 18.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it would be a big number.
I tried to look at how many times he's averaged over 100, and I thought, do you know what, the database I use hasn't got a large enough page.
Yeah. It's astonishing. His record is astonishing. His career is astonishing.
98.
It continues to astonish, but it doesn't astonish as regularly as it used to, and yet he is so incredible that Van Gerwen right now is still in discussion of who's the best player in the world, even though he's not playing his best. And there aren't many players in the history of the game you could ever say that about. Yes, there were some who said I've got an argument for being the best in the world, but that's at the very peak of their powers. If they weren't at their peak, they weren't in the discussion.
Yeah. Michael hasn't averaged over 110 on the European Tour this year yet. He has gone over 108 times, but it's starting to become quite clear that he might need something close to that to win today against Josh Rock, because he's got a 2-1 lead. And before that visit, Rock was averaging 110.
Well, special players do special things on big occasions. Now, that might sound like nonsense to you. It's just luck.
Here we go. Here we go.
But this is special. We have got two very special players putting on a show, and Michael Van Gerwen has got 6 darts into the 9. Josh Rock will not follow him. But can Van Gerwen follow his 2 perfect visits with 147 and the perfect leg?
Where's he going to go with the first dart? On some occasions, he has tried to hit 9 darters with different routes, just to make it more interesting. Because he's almost bored of getting them the regulation way. Now, he's going to have to hit this 51, otherwise he might lose the leg. Great marker.
35.
Wow.
Couldn't use it, and now Josh can pounce.
90.
Staying on the 20s to lead 3-1. Oh, don't get much closer.
Wow, that was close. And that is in. So Van Gerwen has dodged the bullet. He's got fans out there, at least one of them. Great standard. What is it about game chemistry?
96.
Some people come together and they just don't play well in certain fixtures, but these two, quality is guaranteed.
134.
Well, you've got two of the best around right now, and Josh Rock may be ranked only just inside the top 30 in the world, but he is climbing, and he is climbing fast. And he is throwing
82.
darts that merit his discussion about being in the top 10 players in the world. He's only won the one title so far, but there will be more coming because he is producing this
57.
level on such a consistent basis. It's not, I mean, the highs are amazing, but it's the consistency that really catches the eye in a player so young.
He was the only person to break 120 last year. Nobody's done that this year so far. Luke Humphries was close.
I think Bradley Brooks has done it on the development tour. But
You're right,
yeah,
he has.
not on the senior circuit.
Yeah.
And then that's a shorter format game, does lend itself to a higher likelihood of seeing ridiculous numbers, both very high and very low.
Yeah, Bradley Brooks was in this tournament. Eliminated quite early, but still played pretty well. Van Gerwen on for 170.
Well, we've seen it hit 3 times already this weekend. We've seen it missed even more than that. What it does do, even though it doesn't give him the leg just yet, it gives him a great chance of getting this breaker throw. Josh Rock missed his opportunity with one at the ball in the last leg. Van Gerwen gets a better chance here.
Double 16 again. Chance taken and a breaker throw. Some standard, everything in 5-visit range in this match. It's what we wanted, it's what we are getting, and it's the same kind of standard that we got from MVG when he played against Rock at the Grand Slam last year.
And it's a similar demeanour. He is so focused. There's no big celebrations, there's nothing. Van Gerwen is really, really locked in. He is in the zone, and it's a mark of respect. He knows Josh Rock is good. He knows he's dangerous.
I'm not sure that beating him 7-0 in Graz was a good idea, you know.
Well,
because he might have thrown a big can of petrol on the fire.
He has made it his business over the years, Michael Van Gerwen, to dish out bucket loads of revenge against players who have beaten him in significant matches.
Not to mention the fact that Josh is the first person to have ever beaten him in Graz. That will not have sat well with Michael.
87.
He is pushing against the throw here, Josh Rock.
100.
Leaves a bogey number, but he couldn't do anything after straying into the 7th segment to leave a finish. Josh Rock's going to leave tops.
136.
Excellent response from the 22-year-old from Northern Ireland.
This crowd are behaving so differently to the last game. Michael despises the fact that he's on a bogey number there. He'd love to have had a shot at the bullseye, but like you say, Dan, it wasn't his fault. But the break back could be found. Isn't. That may be the biggest moment of the match so far. Van Gerwen getting the old branch of olive.
Michael Van Gerwen leads this by 4 legs to 2. There are 2 legs in this match where Josh Rock has had darts to win them. He has missed and MVG has stepped in. That is the difference.
Cross against Sedlacek in the previous game,
81.
they were all for Carroll. They wanted him to win. He didn't. Now they look at this game, and every person is just encapsulated in this game in a neutral sense. They just want to see more of this standard, as we all do.
Josh Rock has just hit his 6th 180. We're only in leg 7.
Ross Smith got 7 the other day in a game, didn't he?
96.
I get the feeling that Josh is going to break that. Such a lovely position to throw darts from. There's a lot to admire about his technique.
82.
Somewhat unconventional stance for Michael. It always has been
140.
well, it's a bit like Ross Smith, actually, where he's putting a lot of pressure on that right hip.
Oh, double 19 for a 158. Oh, Josh Rock, that is sumptuous. Best leg of the match, 12 darter. Cuts the gap to 1, but Michael van Gerwen
85.
is still in control of this game. The way that Rock is scoring, though, this is not done and dusted.
Yeah, bounce back ability and the ability to forget
99.
what's just gone wrong. 3 missed darts at tops to get the break back. His response was a 12-dart leg with a 158 at the end of it.
Josh Rock's lowest average in the 4 games he's played against Van Gerwen, and they've all been in races to at least 7.
100.
So it's not the short, this is the shortest format game they've played. It won't be as short a game as his 7-0 win in Graz. It's going to go longer than that, but
96.
the lowest average he's had is 95. He turns up, but then he turns up in most games he plays.
37.
Unfortunately for Josh, in this leg, he hasn't been able to maintain that sort of scoring power.
Oh, that was a slack one from Michael. In a funny sort of way,
25.
it was good. I know that Michael's one of the best that's ever thrown a dart, but still, in these games, you want to take the bust shot out of play. And hitting that 5 did that.
85.
I actually wanted him,
Michael
for his own
55.
likelihood of getting this leg, to hit a 20 with dart 2. Double 10. And
45.
that's maybe as bad as it could have got.
Yeah, it is as bad as it could have got because he doesn't want to be left on double 5. However, the only sort of misses that we've seen from Van Gerwen in this game have come in that visit where he could afford to miss because Josh Rock wasn't breathing down his neck. And he takes it out the next visit. It is not a problem. Josh Rock's misses have been punished. Michael van Gerwen's very few mistakes have not.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head, which countries MVG has not won on the European Tour. He didn't win in Denmark, but he didn't go to all of them. I think he only went to one of them. He hasn't won in this country. Obviously won in the Netherlands, Germany. Didn't win in the UK, because that only posted 1 back in 2013, won by John Parr. I know how much he craves to win in lots of different countries, but we had a conversation with him a few years ago down on the stage when he won a tournament. And he somewhat sheepishly said, I want 50 of these.
Well, would you bet against him getting him?
I think he'll get there.
80.
And I don't think anybody else will.
Well, you never know what format things are going to take, do you? I mean, who knows? Rod Harrington wanted 20
60.
Euro tours a year.
Just recall 141.
Josh Rock. That'll do.
85.
That'll do. Leaves himself 56.
312 is a really interesting number because if you get 2 treble 20s, the third dart goes to the bull.
Yeah.
145 is the number to leave the finish, but Michael doesn't get close to that. And Josh did not get close to the 20.
Well,
38.
running away from double top, which you would think would be his usual route, but having missed those 3 darts at it a few legs ago.
He's been hanging out with Rod Cross a little bit too much doing things like that.
96.
Well, this is the downside. You miss on the 18s inside, you go to double 9. Is it a downside? No, it's not. Just takes it out. There we go. 17 darts is the worst leg of the match.
Have you ever looked at the points in Josh's darts? They are very unusual. They have a somewhat dip away
60.
from the grippy bit at the top towards a smooth point at the end. They almost look like soft tip points. But I assure you, they're not made of plastic. They're made of metal. But they are quite unusual.
Well, his setup is a pretty simple one. It's a pretty simple throw, and it's a pretty simple
99.
formula he has. I'm very interested to see if he can craft a chance here in this leg, and I'm interested to see what double he leaves, because finishing is the only thing that has caused him problems, because that is 180, number 7 for Josh Rock, and he might have just become favourite for this match.
Michael made a massive error in visit 2, leaving 3-4-2, with Josh already putting the 140 in, because he couldn't leave a finish on visit 3.
45.
Now imagine if he left a finish after 9, he could have had a chance for the match, but by leaving 3-4-2, he couldn't.
Josh Rock is on double 18 again for a 10-dart leg to break the throw and force a last leg decider with Michael van Gerwen. Astonishing. Is there anything this young man cannot do?
Wow, what a game. Worst leg, that 17-darter in leg number 9, and then the next one, the best. Another significant chapter
93.
in this storied head-to-head over the last year.
They met at the Grand Slam, Rock hit a 9-darter. They met in a Players' Championship final, Van Gerwen's first title of the year this year. The Austrian Darts Open semis, Josh Rock's first Euro Tour final, and a 7-0 whitewash, a landmark moment in any player's career if you're lucky enough to get it.
83.
And then the Belgian Darts Open last week, Van Gerwen wins and takes his first Euro Tour title for a year. What is going to be the ramifications from this game? And who's going to win it? Because at the minute, Van Gerwen is just edged ahead again.
Michael's favourite now.
59.
His composure, his patience has been otherworldly in this last leg.
40.
This one leg, this moment, this 2 minutes, this is why Michael is the best player of this generation, because he can do things like this against an opponent like this, averaging over 103.
He just got hit with a 10-dart leg. And he hits back with an 11-darter of his own in a last leg decider. It is a brilliant contest between one of the all-time greats and the most exciting young player around in this sport. But it is MVG who gets one over on Josh Rock. He beats him just as he did in Belgium. There he went on to take the title. Does he do the same here in the Czech Republic today?